Russia attacked Ukraine last night with 500 missiles and drones, making it one of the biggest strikes in weeks. But that is not even the main escalation, because now another country has suddenly entered this conflict. Iran. Tehran has announced that Ukraine has become an active participant in the Middle East conflict, and that Iran is preparing missile strikes against Ukraine. And when you see what kind of missile Iran could use for that attack, it becomes clear that this could turn into a nightmare for Kyiv. At the same time, Zelensky has reportedly said that elections in Ukraine may be suspended for many years, and there are also new threats involving Hungary and Viktor Orban. So let's take a closer look at this major update. Right now, most global attention is focused on the Middle East and the escalating Iran war, but at the same time, the war in Ukraine continues, and today several major developments have taken place. Let's start with the massive Russian attack last night. According to reports, Russian forces launched 498 drones and missiles during the night of March 13th to March 14th. Ukraine's air defense claims it intercepted or destroyed about 460 of them, but 28 targets were still hit. The attack focused heavily on Kyiv, which appears to have been one of the main targets. The weapons reportedly used included around 430 drones, Kh-101 cruise missiles, Kalibr cruise missiles, Iskander ballistic missiles, additional missile systems, and even Zircon hypersonic missiles. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky later said the main targets were again energy infrastructure, causing power outages in several regions. But even this massive strike may not be the biggest escalation today, because while Russia was attacking Ukraine, Iran suddenly announced that Ukraine has effectively become involved in the Middle East conflict. And according to Iranian officials, this means Ukraine could now be treated as a legitimate target. This statement came after reports that Ukraine sent drone and air defense specialists to several Gulf countries, including Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. Additional Ukrainian personnel were reportedly deployed to a US base in Jordan. Zelensky confirmed that military specialists had been sent, but did not reveal their exact role. According to reports from his office, the teams consist of Ukrainian soldiers with drone expertise. Critics argue that this could mean Ukraine is becoming directly involved in operations connected to the Middle East conflict. And because of that, Iranian officials have issued strong warnings. The chairman of the Iranian Parliament's National Security Committee, Ibrahim Azizi, said that Ukraine's support for Israel with drones means that Ukraine has effectively become a participant in the conflict. He claimed that under Article 51 of the UN Charter, Iran could therefore consider Ukrainian territory a legitimate target. If Iran actually followed through on such threats, the situation could become extremely dangerous. The distance between Iran and Ukraine is about 1,800 kilometers, meaning some Iranian long-range missiles could theoretically reach Ukrainian territory. One missile often mentioned in discussions is the Khorramshahr missile, which reportedly has a range of over 2,000 kilometers and can travel at extremely high speeds. If such weapons were used, interception would be very difficult. So if tensions continue to escalate, the war in Ukraine could potentially become connected to the wider conflict in the Middle East. But that is not the only political crisis surrounding Ukraine. The dispute between Ukraine and Hungary is also becoming more intense. Recently, a former Ukrainian intelligence general, who is now a member of parliament, made controversial comments directed at Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. According to reports, he suggested that Ukrainian intelligence knows where Orban lives and travels. The comments were widely interpreted as a serious threat, and they have caused outrage in Hungary. This comes shortly after Zelensky warned that Ukraine could respond to Hungary in its own language if the political dispute continues. The conflict between Kyiv and Budapest has been growing for months, especially because Hungary has blocked certain EU financial support packages for Ukraine. Another controversial report involves Ukrainian elections. According to some media sources, Zelensky has asked advisors to prepare scenarios where elections could be postponed for several years because of the ongoing war. Supporters argue that holding elections during a full-scale war would be extremely difficult. Critics, however, fear that delaying elections could weaken democratic institutions in the country. So when you look at everything together, the situation is becoming extremely complex. Russia continues to launch major attacks. Ukraine faces growing military and financial pressure. Iran is now issuing threats about possible involvement. And political tensions between Ukraine and Hungary are escalating. All of this suggests that the political situation around the Ukraine war is becoming more unstable. So the big question is this: do you think Iran could actually launch missile strikes toward Ukraine? Or are these statements mainly political pressure? Write your opinion in the comments below. And subscribe to the channel if you want to stay updated on the latest developments.